Hey guys, how are you? My name's Cameron. I've been a chef for many years now, and I'm going to show you some things that I picked up along the way that can help make your cooking at home so much better. What I'm doing today is I'm going to show you how to make a Napoli sauce. So this is the basis for all tomato-based pastas and many of other things. And I'm going to show you a recipe I learned when I was 17 working in an Italian restaurant, and it's still the recipe that I use to this day for nearly 14 years later. Man, I'm old. So, what we need is some canned tomatoes. It's always important to buy good quality canned tomatoes. Something that's been cooked, it's nice and sweet. You don't want anything bitter. And the first step is to put them all in the blender. And you want to blend them and you want to get them nice and smooth so that you've got a smooth consistency of sauce. So I've had a bit of a spill here. My container with olive oil has a hole in it and has leaked. Now it's always important to keep a clean kitchen, so I've just stopped to clean this up and then I'm going to start again and get back to it. Now, the reason I use canned tomatoes in this recipe and not fresh is that I think you get a lot sweeter flavor. Tomatoes are something that can go very bitter very quickly when you cook them, so that's why I like to use the canned ones. Now what I do, get my tomatoes in, I blend them. So I just want a nice smooth consistency because this is going to be the basis for your sauce. A lot of people will cook the tomatoes out and then put a stick blender in it at the end and blend it. I just don't rate that, and I don't do it. Next, we transfer the pureed tomatoes into the bowl, because we're going to need this blender again. Putting the producer to work here, getting him to wash my dishes while I need them. And while we wait for him, I'm going to peel some garlic. Garlic's just one of those things that's really annoying to peel and really bothers me, and it can take time. Never, ever buy jars of garlic, ever. So if you do buy a jar of garlic, what I suggest you do is suggest you look at the ingredients on the jar of garlic, and I think you'll find that a lot of the times what you're getting isn't actually garlic, and it's an imported product that has been bulked out with onions, and it's really crap because onions have this acidity about them, and you just don't want acidity through a sauce like this. Like, the whole ambition of this sauce is to be sweet. While I'm peeling the garlic, it's story time. So where I got this recipe from, I was 17, I was a first year apprentice, and I was working in an Italian kitchen in Brisbane. The owners, their mother, everything there was her recipe. So we had to follow it to a T, and it's still the best recipe for Napoli sauce that I've ever come across. The reason I follow this to the T is there was once a Sicilian man working in the kitchen, and what he did was he thought his way was better and his recipe was better, so he put some onions and red wine in the Napoli sauce, and she hit him with it. So ever since then, I just don't change the recipe. It works, and I don't want her to hit me. She'll probably track me down and hit me. I don't know. All right, so getting back into it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a whole bunch of garlic that's been peeled, a whole bunch of basil, and I like to use the stalks and stems because there's plenty of flavor in them, not to be missed. Add some olive oil, and we just blend this up. So we make a nice paste from the olive oil, the garlic, and the basil. Previously, I've spoken about cooking with olive oil and the low burning temperature. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cook this in a pot, but it's really important to cook it on a low heat and just slowly cook it so that you don't burn that olive oil and ruin the flavor. So I've got the paste here, and I've just got it, and I'm putting it onto a pot that's got a low heat. And we're just gonna slowly cook that and bring that up to a temperature. And once it's up to a nice temperature, then we're gonna add the rest. What I like to do here, see here, you get left with a lot of, well, the mixture in there, and it's flavor. So I'll just tip my tomatoes back in, swirl it around because I want as much of that out of there as possible. All right, so what we're doing here is we're just cooking this very lightly on a low heat, and you can just see it's just simmering there nicely. Now what I do is I wait. I don't want this to change color. As soon as I see it starting to change a bit color, we don't want any brown in there, that's when we add the tomatoes. So you'll get this beautiful aroma. It's basil, it's garlic, it's fresh, it's everything Italian. It's the olive oil. It's great. Now we add our tomatoes to this. We stir it in till we've got a nice consistent sauce. And the last step's carrot and celery. And the reason we put this in is for sweetness. So we want to cook that out. We put them in whole. It's not going to be blended up. It's not going to be through the sauce. It's just to cook it and to extract the natural sugars that are in there, and it just comes out perfect. And this is a sauce that's made with no sugar, no sweeteners, no wine, nothing artificial. It's a beautiful natural sauce. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have this on, turn the temperature up a little bit. We're going to bring it up to the point where it starts to simmer, and then just turn it right back down low, so it's just a light, gentle, rolling simmer. And we're going to leave that like that for about an hour. And once that's cooked, then we're going to pull it out, and that's going to be our sauce finished. All right, guys, so I've had this Napoli simmering on the stove now for an hour and a half. You can see the celery has become translucent and limp. It's all cooked out, and then that's pretty much it. It's done. So all we do now is we pull the carrots out. We pull the celery out. Throw it in the bin. So I'm kind of missing a ladle now, and I don't know where it's going, and I wanted to show you. But anyway, so what I've got left is you've got this beautiful, rich, red tomato sauce. It's a perfect consistency. There's no need to puree it. There's no need for anything. And I'm just going to taste it just to see, obviously, where the seasoning sits with this and if it needs any. That's absolutely wonderful. Might need a little bit of salt for my liking, but other than that, it's perfect. It's a beautiful sweet sauce. The tomato flavors come through. There's no acidity. It's not bitter. And you can taste the basil, the garlic. You can taste everything just like Nonna used to make. There we have it. That's my sauce. That's the consistency. You can see the beautiful red coming through that. That's perfect there alone. If you just want to fold that through some pasta, nice, simple, easy.